Today I'm going to discuss about this budget accounting, particularly the topic accounts payable from here. This is a good book from Zeus Vernon Milan. Very spoon feeding. You can see the various almost the various question or what I mean almost questions that you have mostly on some other books that are something in the gray area, which that those are answered in here, and there's a need for you to explore more questions. What I mean to undergo to research more review questions in order to explore how to deal with those particular scenario. Okay, now what I'm going to talk about this morning is about the current liabilities. The current liabilities, by the way, before we go into that is we are going first into the recognition process, the theoretical background about this particular topic, so that we can have such concrete understanding on why we're doing this. Okay, so the point of having this accounts liability is the recognition into its balance sheet. Okay, so I would like to show this format. So the goal is how do we incorporate this one into our balance sheet, or currently we call this one statement of financial position. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm using the balance sheet because in the US still they have this what we call balance sheet term that they're using. Okay, now going back in the recognition process, the IFRS is introducing two stages of doing that. The first stage is in order to be recognized into the statement of financial position. Number one is the meeting the definition. So I'm going to use the word meeting the definition of the liability. So this is the first stage. The second stage is the provision or the providing of usefulness. Okay. So what is it when it comes or on the perspective of the users of the financial statements? How do we use this? What we call this one? The recognition of these accounts payable. Therefore, if though it meets the definition, however, if it does not provide any usefulness as to the for the users of this statement of financial position, so therefore there's a need for us to recognize as this liability into our statement of financial position because it's not useful. Okay, it has no bearing or relevance when it comes to the decision making. However, there are some disclosures that are needed, although they're not meeting the usefulness. Why? Because somehow those information can give um, more sound decision making because sometimes users of the financial statements are looking into that notes to financial statements and able to understand more what is happening for those items or what are those items that are though they're not part of the balance sheet but still they are looking into it for some reasons. Okay, again, every decision maker is has its own perspective on how they are looking into the statement of financial position. So hindi ko yan sila pare-pareha yung pagtingin. Now, once that we meet in here in the usefulness, it requires number one, the of relevance of such liability, and the second, it requires the faithful representation. These two can be found in your discussion of your conceptual framework. You can see in there the extensive discussion of this faithfulness and what is this relevance. But for the purpose of the discussion of this liability, okay, I could give to you a short, explanation of the relevance in relation to this recognition process of the liability. So when we say relevance, dito, it needs uh, there's an ingredients of that confirmatory at saka yung tinatawag natin na predictive value. Okay. Confirmatory, it is because it gives, for example, if you're doing some estimates in the future and the actual liability comes out or came out recently, then you can compare about their differences and you can evaluate why is it that there's a difference from the estimate. So maybe there is a change in circumstances that drives into that differences. So that is one of the idea. But anyway, that's what we call the confirmatory. And the prediction is that before it is happening, it is allowed to use the estimate in order that the there is an expectation of the outflow, even though there is no particular legal contract when it comes to that. However, there is what we call commitment or something that you have been committed or you provide expectation in public, then that will make the entity having that obligation to transfer economic resource to the other party. Okay, so although again there is no exact measurement of that, however, the estimation for the purpose of relevance is provided. So that is directly related to predictability, predictive. So this is called predictive value. Okay, and here in the faithfulness, this is talking about how do we measure. Okay, pagdating sa measure sa faithfulness na discussion, medyo malaki yan na scope yung faithfulness kasi nagtatanong yan, how reliable is the measurement, etc. So in here, we will measure the measurement, but of course, we are talking also the reliability of the measurement. So kung ano yon. But again, in this measurement, it is only required that even if that is an estimate, you need to provide those bases like the models, what are the models that you use, and able to measure that, and what are those other explanation or information that could give more value to the user so that he can assess if if the estimate is accordance with his or her what we call this one assessment tool, because each of these decision maker has its own assessment. So if the provider of the financial statements provides that assessment, what I mean the estimate, then such reader has his own way on how to estimate, how so enable that he can do that thing. That particular user has to see what are the basis of that measurement made by the provider of this or the maker or the issuer of this statement of financial position. So that's how it is. So from here, in our measurement, pag okay na yan again, pag halimbawa may measurement na, doon na papasok yung ano natin, yung kinakailangan nating to categorize the liability in accordance if they are financial or non-financial. Non-financial. So dalawa yan sila, non-financial. Okay. Now to have I mean maybe a short way on how to understand financial, tandaan mo lang na kung mayroong contract, tapos babayaran yan in terms of cash or any financial instrument, then that would make it the liability as a financial liability. So ito lang yung kailangan, may kontrata ba at saka mayroon bang cash or financial uh, I mean financial, does it requires payment using the financial instrument? Then if that is the case, then it is a financial. So kailangan dalawa itong ma-meet. Other words, if this cannot be met, dito siya mag-fall sa non-financial. Kasi ang sinabi dito, any liability that cannot be defined under or can be categorized under the financial liability, it will fall directly to the non-financial liability category or classification. Okay? In other words, if that is payable in cash or financial instrument, however, it is not based on contract, then it should be what? It should be uh, counted as non-financial. Okay, assuming if you are receiving a cash in advance for the rent payment, let's say you're using or you're leasing a property, so nagpaparenta ka. Ito yung business mo, okay, leasing a property. Ngayon, ang renta mo is halimbawa 10,000 a month. However, naka-receive ka galing sa lessee, ikaw yung lessor dito, galing sa lessee, naka-receive ka ng advance na 3 months. So that would be 30,000 advance na 3 months. Okay. Okay. In our accounting parlance, the way we record this one as what? unearned liability or earned revenue. So unearned revenue is a liability. Okay, that is our uh, sorry, unearned liability. Then we debit cash. Okay, so this is a liability. However, ang tanong, is this a financial or a non-financial? Okay, so doon tayo magtatanong una. Kung babayaran mo itong unearned rent revenue, lagyan natin ng rent revenue ha, para medyo kumpleto. Kung babayaran mo itong unearned rent revenue, paano ba ang pagbayad? O, yun ang tanong. Well, there's a contract. Check. Okay? Let's check. So, pumasa siya sa una. However, kailangan kumpletuhin. Yung ikalawa, babayaran ba ito by means of delivering cash or delivering financial instruments? Anong sagot? Kung ang sagot mo ay yes, then this would be counted as a financial liability. However, in a normal, pag nagbabayad sa iyo yung nagrerenta sa in advance, what's the what do you have to deliver in that in order to pay for that cash na in advance niya na payment? Anong gagawin mo? Of course, ipaparenta mo yung lugar mo or yung property. In other words, you are not going to pay this by means of delivering cash or financial instruments, but by way of services. Okay, so services ito. Therefore, hindi siya pumasa dito sa ikalawang requirement. So, ito yung unang requirement, ito yung ikalawang requirement. Kaya, dito siya mag-fall sa non-financial liability. Okay, so that's it. Okay, ano pa mga example dito? Let's say yung mga warranty. The warranty liability is not payable in terms of money, but payable in terms of services. Provide ka ng free na services if those warranty contract is still covered or within that period as stated in that contract. So, yun yung mga example dito. Okay? Now, ano ang example ng mga non-financial, ng mga financial? Of course, accounts payable because that is to be paid by means of cash. Okay? Okay. So, yun yung mga example. Ano pa? Yung mga based on contract. Example, uh, halimbawa, mayroon kang obligation to pay kasi nagkaroon ka ng damages with the other parties by way of yung patent violation, example, or copyright. So, you have to pay that based on the decision of the court. Now, is that based on contract? Yes or no? No. So that's why that is not a financial. Kasi that is based on statute. In other words, there are obligations na base yun sa batas. Kung ganun yung mga obligations na yan, it should not be considered or classified as non-financial liability. Okay? So, that's it. So, from here, we will discuss yung isa-isa dito pagdating sa financial. Dito tayo magsisimula, magdi-discuss yung pa isa-isa yung mga financial natin, we discussed the AP, tapos meron tayong mga notes payable, mga bonds, mga ganun. Then sa mga non-financial, we have yung mga accruals, mga accruals like electricity, these are financial because this is based on contract. When you subscribe to electricity, you have to what? To sign a contract that you are going to pay whatever their bills on a monthly basis. So yun yung ano yon, financial yon. Yung namang ano pa yung di-discuss dito? Example, yung mga premiums, yung mga warranty, paano yun i-compute, yung mga ganun. So anyway, these are very simple topics because we are dealing with this particular current liabilities after the discussion of this theory. Okay. Ngayon, now that we have, kasi why do we have to, by the way, the reason is that we have to classify them as financial at saka non-financial. It is because their measurements are different. The non-financial at saka yung non-financial. Okay, erase muna natin ito ha. Pagdating sa financial, accordingly, the measurement is to be used is general rule accordingly is amortized cost. Okay, amortized cost. Yun yung sabi dito. Now, kung hindi, pero mayroong mga exceptions na hindi siya pwedeng i-measure at amortized cost. Okay, ano-ano yon? If your liability is measured at fair value. Okay, mayroong mga liability na measured at fair value. If that is the case, if that is a fair value, pag sabi nila, then it has to be measured at fair value less cost of transaction. Yon ang tawag dito. So, hindi siya sa amortized cost, kundi sa fair market value. However, all of this financial, I would like to emphasize, lahat sila magsisimula sa amortized cost. Okay? Dito sila magsisimula lahat at amortized cost. Yung subsequent measurement nila, it could be amortized cost or fair value. So in here, ang measurement na sinasabi ko dito is ito yung una, initial, lahat sila at initial value. But on the subsequent, pwede silang, okay, mamili yung na amortized cost ba siya, except for the exceptions na mayroong mga particular na mga liability, financial liability na to be measured at fair market value. Okay, so this is the subsequent. And there are things na there's no need to use the amortized. Example, yung sinasabi nila na yung factoring na example natin. Nasa factoring, factoring with recourse, or we can say yung assignment of receivables. If you remember, if you are going to have a receivable financing of the receivable, we're going to have a factoring of receivables with recourse. Ibig sabihin niya that after we sell those accounts receivable to the bank in order to encash them immediately without waiting for the term of the collection, there's another condition that it could be with recourse. In other words, that if the if your customers will not pay those accounts receivable that you sold to the bank, you are obliged to pay for that loan from the bank. Okay? In other words, there's an existing liability and there's an existing AR. The AR, accounts receivable, is not transferred during the factoring on that. So, ang AR is ganun pa rin, nandun sa position mo. At the same time, mayroon kang tinatawag na liability. Now, the measurement of this liability is not measured in terms, subsequently in terms of amortized. The measurement of this one will depend upon when this particular AR is settled. Example, let's begin with this one. Okay? So, at zero date, umutang ka sa bangko, you sell your AR. However, that is with recourse. Therefore, mayroon kang dito, liability at the same time. Pero nabenta na to, however, the risk and ownership of that still in your possession. Kasi hindi yan na-transfer talaga. Again, kasi may or with recourse. Halimbawa, yung worth of that AR na ibinenta mo is, let's say, 100. Okay? So, naka-receive ka ng cash. Let's say, ang inutang mo doon, 100 yung 1,000. Then, ang natanggap mo lang is only 90K. Therefore, mayroon silang tinatawag na factoring fee. Okay? Or any charges. Okay. Now, after that, ang mangyari dito, pag binayaran yung AR, example, nakatanggap yung bangko ng payment galing sa, anong tawag dito? Ito yung bank ha. Galing sa customers, ito yung sa bank, ito yung sa'yo. Reporting entity. So pagtanggap ng bank, ang gagawin ng bank, i-debit yan ng cash at saka i-debit doon sa loan. Tanggap sila ng cash, then credit doon sa kanilang loans receivable galing sa'yo. Example, ang binayaran is 40. So in your part din, kung ganyan ang nangyari, ibig sabihin, meron kang natanggap na cash, then ikaw pa rin yung magre-record for the collection. Although that payment is directly made to the bank. So mangyari dito, kakatanggap ka amounting 40,000. Okay? Then your other entry, kasi nakakatanggap ka, then after that, that is paid directly to your loan applied by the bank. Therefore, yung liability mo sa bangko, i-debit mo dito. Meron kang cash dito na credit amounting 40,000. So, ganun. Kung mapansin mo, balik tayo sa discussion, hindi, yung changes niya, yung measurement niya is not based on the amortized cost. Because yung kanyang changes ng kanyang liability is based on the collection of the AR. Okay? Yung liability mo, bumaba siya because of the changes or payment of the AR. So that's the point of having that na hindi siya pwedeng i-ano mo siya, ilagay as or i-categorize or classified as amortized, okay, liability. So that's the point. Yung ikatlo naman is yung mga yung mga case ng ano, yung executory liability or executory contract. Okay, contract. Yung mga executory contract, wala siyang liability na na-create at the what we call this one, at the initial. Mayroon man pero masyadong mababa. Okay? Sa executory contract, example, you are about to when you say executory contract, the both parties are about to deliver their own obligation until such time that none of that parties of those parties involved not not yet delivering their obligation. Ang mangyayari, yung kanilang side, what I mean, yung obligation na yan is not yet to be accounted as an obligation. Kasi nga, wala pang nangyayari. So, empty pa siya. By the time na ma-deliver na ng isa, then the other is now obliged. So, magkakaroon na siya ng yung tinatawag natin na onerous. Onerous is that the other party will now be obliged to fulfill its counter obligation. Example, you have a contract that you are going to purchase 100,000 of inventory. That is in the form of the purchase order. However, wala pang nangyari kung wala pang delivery. Now, once that the seller delivers the goods, then you, as the buyer, is now obliged, magkakaroon na ng onerous na liability that you are obliged now to deliver the cash in due time. Kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa term. Okay? So, yung dito naman, yung executory contract magiging onerous. Mayroong mga executory contract na even though executory pa siya, pero mayroon na siyang value na, na you have to consider. Ito yung mangyari dito. Example, mayroon kang kontrata na magpapahiram ka ng, halimbawa, si X magpapahiram siya ng kay Y ng 1 million. So within 2 years, ang contract nila na si X is open siya na magpapahiram kay Y ng 1 million. Okay? In just 2 years lang. After 2 years, wala nang karapatan si Y na manghiram ng 1 million kay X. So what's the point of that? Ang point kasi dito, kasi in this arrangement, ang ano kasi, bakit mayroong ganitong kontrata? Kasi yung ipapahiram ni X is far lower than, the interest is far lower than the market. Let's say the interest lang yung i-impose niya is only 5%. However, yung sa market naman, ang interest is nandun sa 14%. So that's really, lower than the prevailing interest rate. Therefore, there's a advantage on the part of Y. And that advantage is only good for 2 years. And in exchange for that, meron yung babayaran si Y kay X, yung tinatawag natin na parang convenience fee. Okay. Let's say 20,000. Okay. So, provide ka ng 20,000, then open yung credit line ko. Provided that you have to pay 20,000. Okay, meanwhile, on the first year, that 20,000 will remain as unearned, di ba? Liability yan. Okay. So, tanggap siya ng 20,000, that is unearned on the zero date. Pagdating sa first year, dito, okay, halimbawa, dumating na yung after 1 year, then hindi pa rin nag-exercise si Y, therefore, half of this 20,000 is na-earn na ni X. So, dito, ang earn dito, na portion after 1 year is 10. Okay, so dito, meron na siyang 10 na na-earn. Therefore, sa kay Y, so therefore sa unearned, magiging ano na to, magiging 10 na lang ito, ang balance. Okay, so half of that is earned, half of that is unearned. Okay, now, sometimes ganito ang mangyari. It could be na on the second year, si Y is magkagulo yung kanyang finances. Mayroon siyang mga trouble. In other words, financial troubles like that. Halimbawa, mayroon siyang mga kontrata na hindi na makakollect ngayon doon sa customer. So, financially troubled siya. However, nakatali pa rin si X. Mayroon pang 1 year na si Y, pwede niyang execute yung panghiram ng 1 million. Ngayon, magiging disadvantage yan kay Y. Bakit? Kasi kung gano'n yung situation ni Y, there's a probability na si Y hindi pwede makapagbayad. So that's why, if that is the case, it is required na si X ay mag-estimate na siya na yung tinatawag natin na expected credit loss, yung 12 months. So, ifo-foresee niya yung 12 months. In the next 12 months, magkano kaya yung loss? Halimbawa, kung uutangin na ni Y yung aking 1 million. Okay. So, estimate niya yun. So, halimbawa, sabi ni X na it could be na hindi makapagbayad si Y ng amounting 150K. So, ito yung estimated niya na ECL. Okay. However, ang na-earn ko lang sa kanya, ang unearned ko lang, ang liability ko lang is 10. Okay. So, ito ngayon yung dilemma. Kung ito yung projected mo na liability, kasi magiging liability mo kasi itong ECL ngayon. Although hindi pa yan nangyayari, however, this record na kailangan mo yun na i-estimate. Ngayon, ang tanong, ano yung basis mo to measure your liability? Because both of these one are related, di ba? Parang itong si unearned mo ay kakainin ni 150 na estimated mo na probably si Y ay hindi niya ito mababayaran. So, in your part, that is already your liability. Okay? It becomes now an onerous. That's the point of that. Onerous siya. So, therefore, ang mangyari dito, ni-require ng IFRS na ang measurement mo must be higher of these two. Higher daw ng dalawa. Yung expected ECL mo or yung unearned na existing mo na liability in relation to this arrangement. So if that is the case, ito yung, ang i-report niya ngayon na liability is 150. As you observe, kaya siya tinatawag na exception dito. Okay? Bakit? Exception siya dito kasi hindi mo talaga siya pwedeng i-measure at amortized cost pagdating dyan. You have to stay on the higher of the liability na based on the ACL or expected credit loss at saka yung based on your existing unearned. Okay? So far, in connection with this liability, with this arrangement. Okay? So that's my explanation of why is it that this is the third exception. Okay? So this one, the fair market value. Third is it is related to factoring, and the third that's the second, and the third is this is related to executory contract that will become onerous because of this, although there is no yet delivery, but it will become onerous na yung executory contract. Okay, so ngayon, well, we understand now the measurement, okay? And how is it the financial liability is measured compared with this non-financial? This non-financial is measured accordingly based on their best estimate. Okay. Ito applicable to, let's say, mga accrual. Example, yung kuryente mo babayaran or yung bill mo is nag-due siya on the 20th day of the month, so you cannot charge that, let's say on the 20th of December, you cannot charge that all of them for the month of December. And also, uh, my part doon sa December, that is part also of the, my part doon sa billing na na-receive mo sa 20th of December, na part doon sa November. Okay. It is required na kung very material yan, you have to estimate kung magkano talaga yon. Ano yung nabibilong doon sa November na nabill doon sa December. So that requires a reporting entity to use the best estimate. Okay. Yun yung mga pagkakataon na yan. Okay? Best estimate. However, dito sa non-financial, ito yung na-amortized at saka yung mga at fair value, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's it. That's the requirement. However, in some traditional na accounting, ganun pa rin yung sinusunod. Okay, like for the accounts payable, we based on the open invoice. Yung mga other na mga references, yung notes payable, we based on the promissory note. Okay, so that's it. After this, once that we have identified their measurement, we are going to discuss paano ba yung reporting. Yun na. Halimbawa, mayroon na silang amounts na recognized na, meron ng amount dito. So, ang next is yung reporting. Yun na yung last dito na tanong. Okay, in the balance sheet, pagdating sa liability or statement of financial position, pagdating dyan na report, we have only two types of presentation. What I mean, two-way presentation doon sa mga liabilities na yan. So, it could be a current or a non-current. Yun. So, ito yung pag-uusapan natin dito. Paano natin masasabi na yan ay current at saka yan ay non-current? We are going to start discussing on the, okay, current muna. Sa current, mayroong pinakaunang driver dito, yung tinatawag natin na normal operating cycle. Ito yung unang na makapag-influence talaga kung bakit siya current. Okay. Normal operating cycle starts when when we say goods, we're talking about inventory, are purchased, then until such time that is sold in cash. Okay. Therefore, you receive the goods, then you convert it to cash by way of selling and collecting your receivables. That total period, this is what we call the normal operating cycle. Okay, ganun lang. Okay. So, ano mangyayari dito sa normal operating cycle? Medyo mataas siya. So, kasali na dito na mayroon kang term na 30 days. Example, babayaran mo yan, di ba? So, part na dito yung, until dito, mayroon kang existing na AP. Then, you have to pay for that payment. Okay. Then, after that, sold. Okay, sa sold, magkakaroon ka ng AR. Then, until yung AR, magkakaroon ka ng collection. So, this is the last point of, or the end point of your normal operating cycle. Okay, kung makikita mo, ang AP is pasok siya sa normal operating cycle. Now, what is the implication of that in our financial statements? Accordingly, yung mga items na pasok sa normal operating cycle, lahat ng mga liabilities dyan na pasok doon sa period na yan are always current. Okay, yan ang tandaan, ha? Lahat yun current. No exception. Question, what if, sir, that particular normal operating cycle goes beyond 12 months? Then that's still current. Kasi yun yung normal operating cycle. Normal operating cycle has no standard when it comes to the length of time. Depends upon or it varies on each entity to another entity. There are normal operating cycles that are longer than 12 months. Let's say if we're talking about heavy equipments, it could take 18 months before we sell that one. But if we're talking about a retail store like mall, for the goods, those are sellable only like in a short time, like 6 months, 8 months, very fast. Okay, so that's why there is no standard measurement of the normal operating cycle. So in general, I don't see any exception yet, but in the normal operating cycle, pag nabilong yung item na yan, that is always current. Therefore, itong ating AP, accounts payable, is always current. Basta siya ay trade. We're talking about goods or inventory. Okay, merchandise inventory. Any related to that is what we call current, our trade. If we have, if we convert AP trade to notes payable trade, that's still current. This notes payable trade is not intended to finance. I mean to finance, to produce capital. This is intended to pay off your accounts payable. Iba din yung notes payable na ginagamit siya pang padagdag ng capital. That is a financing in nature. If that is the case, that particular notes payable, insert ko lang, is hindi siya mapapasok dito sa normal operating cycle. Mayroon siyang another criteria on whether it is to be presented as current liability or a non-current liability. Okay. Na ngayon, other items that are not falling in this category, then they have to be presented by way of using the 12 months measurement or the 12 months parameter. Okay. Test muna natin ito. So what is that with the 12 months? Again ha, pag hindi na siya pasok sa normal operating cycle. Okay. So 12 months, ang measurement dito is 12 months from the balance sheet date. Okay. 12 months from the date of uh, reporting. Reporting date. Okay. So from here up to here, pag yung particular na liability ay babayaran within 12 months, and that will make the liability current. Halimbawa, mayroon kang warranty na 100,000 dito, babayaran siya hanggang dito, current pa rin siya. Sorry. Warranty is part of the trade. So, therefore, there is no current at saka non-current of that pagdating sa warranty at saka yung mga premium. Okay. I'm talking about doon sa iba. Let's say, meron kang notes payable amounting 200K. The first one will due on 100K, while the other will due beyond 12 months. Okay. And that is the case, the other 100 dito is, ito yung non-current. Non-current. Ito ay current liability. Yun. Ang titingnan lang natin is mag-due ba siya within 12 months from the reporting date. Okay. So that's it. So that's how very simple we are going to understand this from that theory, the definition, until such times that we are going to report that one to the current and non-current liabilities. Let's move to another video for further discussions of these current liabilities.